What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 44 of the XtraSlice, brought to you by the Cheesy Controller Podcast. I'm your host, Anton LaPlatte. Joining me, as always, we have the mayor of Stardew Valley and Eorzea, Chris Montalbano.
I forgot what I was going to say.
We got the most generous squid in the sea, Jalen Roberts.
Look, I broke out of Hades. I could break out of horny jail.
And the Akoski Durag, Madrid Devon.
So, Chris, you're telling me that you had something to say, but you forget that you have something to say. Because I also did the same thing, so now I'm doing this.
Hey.
We got a jam-packed episode for you guys this week. We're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5 finally being out.
Boy.
We're going to talk about Fall Guys falling off, and we're going to talk about the Game Awards 2020. All right, so starting off, we talked about it last week. I was so close to having my PS5. Now I've had my PS5 for 6 days. Video watchers can see I have the box set up in my background. I don't even see my PS5 on a regular basis because, like I said, I was unplugging my PS4 Pro from behind my monitor and slotting in my PS5 and plugging it in, and I did that. And it's shorter than my monitor, and my monitor, it's far enough back that, if I look under my monitor, I just see the stand and a little sliver of white. I really just spend all my time looking at this DualSense, which is, this is the biggest part of, current gen. It's something every time I play a game on the DualSense, I notice something different. So, the reason we're running a little bit late for recording for live viewers is because before Madrid, Chris... Just children.
I didn't want to get caught lacking.
Check us out on our YouTube to know why I'm calling them children. Also, check out my PS5 All Digital Edition unboxing available now on our YouTube.
Do that.
Definitely check that out. Alana did a supercut of every time I called it a giant console before I got into the unboxing. She just took a supercut of every time I called it Big Chungus. I was just... That was one of the most frantically shot videos I have ever done in my life, but it was just a lot of excitement.
I bet.
Yeah, I was like, alright, this shit's in webcam position, I don't have anything to unbox this on, so I'm gonna mid-air, hoist these things out of this box. Yeah, it's a good time. You should definitely go watch the video, if you haven't seen it yet. But... yeah, I've spent about 6 days now, every single day, playing with my PS5. I have a handful of games. I have Fortnite, of course, which I've played probably more than any other game on there, which is sad. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Demon Souls, Bug Snacks, Dead by Daylight, Borderlands 3. And Borderlands 3 and Dead by Daylight I just installed because I got them, but I... have very little intention of playing either.
Have you played Bug Snacks yet?
No. I've been hearing really great things about Bug Snacks.
But we're talking about Bug Snacks.
Rusty Boys.
All this hype over the song that came out with it, the trailers that was
listen to the song. I've annoyed people in PSN parties by playing the song at full volume at 1 a.m. I intend to play Bug Snacks. It's just... it's high on my list. It's just not in the top echelon. And since I platinumed Astro's Playroom, so I was saying earlier we were running late. It's because I sat down and finished platinuming Astro's Playroom. Took me 2 solid sessions over the course of 4 days. And, it was a great time. If you are a PlayStation fan... there are references in that game to PlayStation history. So, all the artifacts are PlayStation hardware over the years. So, it had every version of the PS1, every version of the PS2, every version of the PS3, every version of the PS4. And then, there's Bloodborne references, there's Ape Escape references, Crash Bandicoot, Final Fantasy VII. All these different... They're Flower, Fat Princess, they're God of War, old God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn. They're just references all over the place throughout the lineage of PlayStation.
You said
Easter eggs.
You said Wild Arms earlier, right?
Well, Wild Arms is the name of the last trophy that I got. So the last couple trophies, they're like, there's a PlayStation Home reference in this fucking game. Do you know how goddamn in the weeds you have to be to talk about PlayStation Home?
Is that thing that came out for PlayStation 3?
Yes.
Oh.
That was like Second Life, but on console. And it was, dude, PlayStation Home, like, R.I.P. But I wish it'd bring that back. That'd actually be something fun to play around with on PS5 is PlayStation Home. Because one of the things that plagued that game was load times. And load times on the PS5, like, I bounce between games so fast, I've forgotten to save in games. I'm like, just switched over to this other game. Shit. It doesn't give you the warning of you're about to close the game and go to another game anymore. So it just instantly loads, and I'll be like, the splash screen will come up, and I'll just be in the game.
Nice.
It's actually, like, it's gotten to the point now that you guys know I'm OCD about how things are organized on my consoles and stuff. Like, I like the fact that the Switch will let you alphabetize your games, so I don't have to physically alphabetize it. And all my folders on my PS4 were alphabetized in those folders, and, like, my phone's alphabetized. And so I'm just super... The speed on the PS5 is so fast. I can order my PS5 games alphabetically on my home screen. Like, so I'll open up my games just to have them alphabetically ordered. And it does not take any time at all.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, just so far with the PS5, is there anything you guys want to know? Because I know none of you guys got one. Like, I want to know.
Not yet. How does it feel?
With the haptics feel?
With the haptics and
Actually, let's start with the haptics of that controller, because that's the one thing I'm actually interested in.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than HD Rumble in the Switch by a good bit. The more you pay attention to it, the more you notice it. Astro's Playroom, I will say, every feature the controller has, Astro's Playroom pushes it as far as it can go.
Nice.
So there's a part in Astros where it's raining and you're running through grass, and then you jump onto metal. You feel, and this is something you also feel in Fortnite, because that I feel like uses pretty good use of the haptics and the adaptive triggers. So the haptics in Astros, you're running, you're under an umbrella, you can kind of feel in the top of the controller water hitting the umbrella, and you can feel kind of your feet going through the grass on the bottom of the controller, and then when you jump and land on metal, you get that like thud of landing, but you're also still getting those raindrop feels. And so if anybody has a PS5 and hasn't felt the haptics, Astro's Playroom's pre-installed. I know it's gotten a couple updates to like squash some bugs and stuff like that, but if for some reason you have a PS5, you can't even connect it to the internet yet, you can play some Astro's Playroom and really get a sense of what this controller can do as far as the haptics and the adaptive triggers. I feel like that is the thing that you notice more and you feel more. Mm-hmm. Like, after a while, your brain, like, in Call of Duty, a grenade hitting the ground and exploding is only going to feel, like, somewhat unique for so long, but right. Call of Duty, every single gun in Call of Duty has a different trigger feel on the triggers. So there's like a motor that's providing resistance against the triggers, and like in Fortnite, you get less resistance the better your gun is. But every single gun, like class, like shotgun, sniper rifle, assault rifle, they all have their own feel. And when you like run out of ammo, you can feel it push back on the trigger when you're shooting, and like you run out of ammo and your gun jams. You can actually feel that. And considering like the primary type of game I've been playing has been shooters, it is something that I feel like every time and having other people test it out. So like I had Alex over, and he sat down and played a little bit of Call of Duty, and he's like, yeah, the trigger feel on this gun is how it would be on an actual gun. Of, like, you have that little bit of, you can, like, push the trigger and nothing will happen until you get past that point of resistance. Then the gun will actually shoot. So, like, as him, somebody who goes to the range every, like, at least once a month, and is, like, has different guns and has shot actual, like, shot more different types of guns in his life than I have.
Exercising his constitutional right as a Georgia citizen.
Right. Right.
Of these United States, even though it's blue now. Yeah.
And they ain't very united.
Not very united.
Shouts out to Georgia.
Shout out to Georgia. Shout out to Stacey Abrams. I just want to,
yeah, 100%.
on the fucking, I voted for you to be governor, so,
Hey, she said she's running again.
Do it again later.
She said she's running again. 2022.
Oh, yeah. Let's see it. I'd like to see it. But yeah, so.
I do have a question, because, I've partied up with you now at least a few times since you've gotten your PlayStation 5, and you've said you've ran into, this is inevitable with a new system coming out, some troubles. How long does it take for, like, them to update those, like, bugs out?
Okay, so I'm not sure, because that is one thing. I've had more bugs out of my PS5 than I felt like I had early on in my PS4. Mm-hmm. And, I'm not sure if any of these things are the system's fault. I'm not sure if these are just, like, the fact that I have there are so many variables going on that I'm not sure, but this is something I'll say. I've had it a couple times. Earlier I tried to switch from Call of Duty to Ghost of Tsushima, and my system just crashed. Like, black screen, controller turned off. I hit the home button on my controller. My controller, just wasn't connected to my system. I had to, stand up, reach over my monitor, turn it off, turn it back on. I don't know if that's just a me thing. I'm not sure. I heard pre-release there were some issues with, the DualSense controller. That was something I was trying to see, what performance gains Overwatch got. Because all backwards compatible games are now running and looking a lot better than they ever did on PS4. So, Jalen, I know you're, a big proponent of frame rate. A lot more games from the PS4 are just running at 60 frames, no questions asked.
Good.
As they should be.
Right. So, Ghost of Tsushima, just, even going into the menu and, looking at the title screen of Ghost of Tsushima, just seeing that run at 60 uncompromised was really good. And, Overwatch, even in custom games where stuff gets hectic, we're not dropping below almost lock 60. I don't have a frame counter, it doesn't have a built-in, frame pacer on. I can't say these things are lock 60, but I know, just looking at the frame rate and having experience playing these games, that they definitely are running at a more stable, higher frame rate than they ever ran before.
Good.
So, you were asking about the bugs. I don't know if that's just a me thing. I haven't really heard from anybody else because I've been playing with people on PS5. I haven't been hearing as much. I don't feel like as many people are switching between as many games as I am off the bat.
Yeah, you are probably using your PS5 to its, highest ability. And it's dude, you gotta chill out.
I was testing out during Overwatch. I was I wonder if I can run a game and switch to a video app. Because, you could kind of, suspend in the PS4. I was wondering if I could run a game and a video app at the same time.
Too much dip on your chip, bro.
Yeah. So, I switched from Overwatch to Crunchyroll and then immediately, canceled out the matchmaking I was in because I was group leader and fucked a whole bunch of shit up. But... I am out here kicking the tires on this thing. I'm playing several hour play sessions. Yeah, I'm switching between, dude, I know you guys, none of you care about Fortnite, But Fortnite, for me, is one of the best examples, like, of a game that I played a shit ton of last generation, and now coming into this generation, we now have the first world problem in Fortnite of we load into the map so fast, we have to wait in, like, the startup area for extra time because we have to wait for other people to load into the map before the match can start.
Is that like a...
Damn, that's funny.
Is that like a PS5 thing, or is that just like fast internet?
Well, no, it's because the map, like the entirety of the map is just there, like instantly.
Dang.
Like on Switch or iPhone or, well, not iPhone anymore. Switch or Android or like low-end PCs or even last-gen consoles, there would be a loading screen that would come up before you even, because the map would have to load in.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're just loading in so fast that
You're
I've
still
had people
waiting.
be like, "Yo, what's going on? Why are we here so long?" I'm like, "Because we're waiting on people on other platforms that don't have an SSD."
We're waiting on
to
the
finish loading
plebeians.
the map. Oh yeah, Call of Duty. You wait on the plebs all the time. Like,
Damn, so
I'm
that
playing-
just makes me think: is it really worth it if you're going to be waiting anyway? Like for these types of games, like is there going to be a mode where you can just play with high ends, or
So yeah, you can
where you can
like,
No,
only
all
play
these
with the
games-
Because
waiting
PC
bees, you know, with the
PC
missile
would have done that a long
monsters.
time ago.
Well, I
This
mean, there are PS5 exclusive multiplayer things like Godfall and like there's just stuff like that. But the reason that I'm dealing with this stuff is because I'm on a next-gen console in a game that is cross-gen. Both Fortnite and Call of Duty are cross-gen, and they're cross-play between all the versions to get a solid player pool. And so, sure, once the adoption rate picks up, more people get these consoles. Like, more people who are playing Call of Duty are playing, like, let's say next year's Call of Duty is exclusive to PS5, Xbox Series X/S. Like, those games, we're seeing these optimizations now, and I just see how there is no picking up your phone waiting for anything to load at all anymore whatsoever. And so, like, I just think the way everything has gone with the system so far, like, yes, I have had a few bugs. I have had it crash on me a couple times. I am really putting it through its paces, though, like, compared to anybody else. Like, most people just don't have the amount of games that I went and pre-ordered and aren't, like, even reviewers aren't, people who are getting codes for free to play some of these games probably aren't going through the different things the way I am, you know?
Yeah,
They're
no
probably
one's-
focusing.
No one's jumping from one game. Like, no one's having ADHD like you did for on your first day. And be like, I want to play Overwatch. Now I'm going to jump into Fortnite. Okay, I'm going to play some Ghost. Okay, now I'm going to play
He was
some
just a kid in the
Astro.
candy store.
It was just
"Oh,
like,
man, I gotta,
you were just like, I'm going all over the
everything."
place and just like,
I have like 700 PS4 games that like, and then the download speeds on this thing, it is not throttling my internet whatsoever. Like the disk write speed is up there with my download speed, so I'm downloading hundreds of gigs and just being like, I guess I'll re-download Warzone because fuck it. Or so, yeah. Most people just aren't out here in the same use case as me. And I mean, if anybody has had bugs or has realized anything that I'm missing or something along the line, definitely feel free to hit me up in the Discord. Add me on PSN. Anton the number 6 with 2 X's.
I mean, in any case, it is something to be expected with a new system coming out. Like,
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's a new operating system in a way. It's a new, like,
there's a lot.
like, everything's
it's really
different.
Weird. It's like a modified PS4. Like the Xbox is just straight up the same experience. Running the same OS, you're just running it on a better CPU, GPU. There's a lot of the back end. Like once you start getting into those menus, you're seeing like shit that is like Yeah, nobody's touched this since they implemented it into PS4, and they just brought it over. And like the way, like even backwards compatible games, because they run on the better CPU GPU, but I'm still playing with last gen players. I'm still partying up. Like I've played games with all of you guys at this point.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cross generation, and I feel like a lot of that stuff, I don't know, as we move further away from the PS4 and more people get PlayStation 5s, I feel like a lot of these things, they can start working on systems specifically for the PS5.
Yeah.
Like, they need to fix the trophy system. Holy shit, this is the worst trophies have ever looked. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah,
And it's been the same trophy system.
Wait, how'd they change the trophies?
So you know how on PS3, Vita, and PS4, when you go into a trophy list, all the trophies are listed vertically and you can read the description?
Yeah, nice,
Now-
simple, and clean. Real
Right,
nice.
yeah. Great, awesome, super usable. Like,
makes fucking sense.
now they are listed horizontally, and so you get a card for each trophy that gives you, like, the first, like, if it's a long title for the trophy, it just cuts it off. And you get, like, the first 3 words of the description of what you're supposed to do, and then it cuts it off. Like, they really...
No.
and
So you
it
got to
makes-
click on everything just to like.
Yeah. Yes. And then it's no longer like before. I think if you hovered over a trophy and pressed square over a hidden trophy, it would tell you what it does.
Yeah.
Now you have to open that trophy, hit options, and then tell it to reveal what the trophy is.
Why is it doing so much?
Dude, it somewhat makes sense. I can see the justification because now the way you no longer are at your home screen a lot, you're more so bringing up that little quick menu in games and doing what you need to do. So like when I was cleaning up trophies in Astros, it had game help for all the collectibles I was missing. And so I could bring that up, click that card, see what I was missing. It'd show me a video of exactly where it is, and then I could just close it out and go to the game and do it. Or I could pin the video to the side like they showed in that UI video. Which,
I do want to talk about game help.
yeah.
Now, on one hand, I get that like game help is there because if you're going to use that kind of software, then you're just going to Google it anyways.
Right.
But do you think that this is more of like if a game does support game help? Because I don't believe every game is going to do that.
They definitely already
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
And
Well,
backwards compatible games almost... some of them, like when I boot up Overwatch, it shows me every single trophy I don't have as like a thing of like, hey, how about you try and go do this? And I'm like, sure. Easier said than fucking done, Overwatch.
but do you think it's more of a temptation to look at game help to try to just cheese the game and get it over with, or like do you feel like it would eventually take away the experience if you were like, I'm dead set on trying to platinum this game, so I'm going to use this software or this option to get me through the game without doing it yourself?
Well, I mean, the thing is, I still had to do all those things, and it kind of just slowed me down a bit in doing them. Like, I could have gone through all the levels and actually looked for the puzzle pieces, but instead I pulled up this video, watched the video, closed out the video, went back into the game, and then did the thing.
Can you
So-
not have the video up and play the game at the same time? I
You
thought.
can, but it's just that shrinks your screen, and like...
Yeah.
It's just not, like, a lot of these video clips are like 20 seconds, so it doesn't really make sense opening up that whole sidebar thing, pinning it. Like, by the time you do all of that, the video's over. And you're just at a static screen on that, and then you gotta go through like, maybe other games that have game help for more complex things may have longer videos, and that would make sense, like... But just so far with what it's been, like, it's not even like... So, Astro, I beat the game, I played through the entire game just on my own merits, like, not knowing what was going on, just playing the levels. It's straight up a 3D platformer. Really good, by the way. It's Nintendo quality of 3D platformer. Like, up there... If it were longer, I'd put it on the level of, like, a Mario Galaxy, which you guys know I don't hold in a super high regard, but, like, it's not, oh my god, fucking 3D platformer of the fucking generation, right? it's a good game. Astro's Playroom is a good 3D platformer. The controls are tight. It's fun to play. And so I played through the entire game on my own, and then I was like, okay, so now I'm using game help to go back and get the collectibles.
Mm-hmm.
But then then there were the rest of the trophies that were like, do these specific things here that I had to look. I legitimately just typed the name of the trophy and then trophy guide into Google and watched. There was a video for every single one, and I just watched those videos on YouTube on my second monitor and did it. Mm-hmm. So, for games that support, it's just another option, and I feel like it is good to implement it in this system for when I don't feel like using an external source, but at the end of the day, I'm still using these external sources.
Imagine using that for Persona 5. Instead of like, alright, let me pull up this polygon walkthrough. Okay, cool. Right answer? Bet.
Right.
Bet.
Well, you can just hit the touchpad in Persona and get the right answer.
I mean, that and like, dating options, things like that. I was using a simple example.
That was wait, hold on. That was an option?
Yeah.
Do you know how many fucking tabs I had up during my entirety of playing Persona 5R?
Yeah.
Just like 7 of them.
Well, if you activate the Thieves Guild when you
can't
start
use it
playing,
for tests, though, so you would have to remember the answer, and sometimes they change up the question.
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm
but
still
like
right.
questions in class, like if they just asked you a random question in class, you could hit the touchpad and you'd see what the majority of people picked in the Thieves Guild. And it'd be like 1% on each of the wrong answers and then 97% on the right answer because everybody either used a guide or did that.
Cool.
So, yeah, that was an option, Chris. You could have just hit the touchpad and random questions in class and got
I didn't utilize the Thieves Guild as much as I should have.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and actually,
I mean, once I got into it, I was just like, I'm going to do whatever I want.
Would you ever go and play cards?
What were you saying, Madrid?
Would you ever go and play cards at the Thieves Den? That shit was lit.
Oh, yeah, I did do that. I didn't understand the game. I won, but I didn't understand. I was like,
it gets intense.
I changed up the den a lot.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody have any other
PS5
pressing questions? I mean, I'm sure, like, I'm playing everything on it. My PS4 Pro is not even plugged in anymore. It is on a shelf, and
how are the other apps that aren't, like, games, like the media apps, how are those hitting?
Fine.
Is it,
they don't have everything.
Are they easier to get into? I feel like the PS4 kind of has changed it to where I'm like, I don't even want to use the PS4's media apps anymore.
Well, yeah. So on the home screen, when you first turn it on, they have all your 8 most recently installed or played games, and then they have your library. And all you do from that is you can hit R1. Up at the top, you have 2 tabs, games and media. Mm-hmm. And so it's always like you're primarily going to be in the games tab, but in the media tab, you have Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Apple TV, Peacock, Crunchyroll, Funimation. You don't have all the ones that you had on PS4. That is something. Like, you have Spotify, Disney Plus, stuff like that. But you don't have every single media app. They just don't all come over like that. And then the other thing is, I mean, they've all been fast and super snappy. I know a glaring omission for me, there's no HBO Max. So just not having HBO Max on the thing that I've been watching, like, consuming some of my media on is kind of a pain. But yeah, I mean, you just go over to that media tab. They're pretty much all there.
How are you missing, like, HBO Max? How are you missing these media apps? Like, what's going on?
Dude, HBO Max isn't on my smart TV either. Like, the only thing that I have that, like, plugs up.
I can't
plenty of shit isn't on my smart TV. I don't even fucking have Crunchyroll.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I have Crunchyroll, I have Retro Crush, I have
no Retro Crush,
Hulu, Netflix. Yeah, I have all those. I just don't have HBO Max. So HBO Max just seems to be something that doesn't have a million apps in a million places.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, I mean, outside of that, like, all the apps work. None of them have logged me out randomly yet, so that's better than PlayStation 4, because PlayStation 4 would randomly log me out of, like, Hulu and YouTube and Twitch and shit.
Mm-hmm.
None of those have logged me out. They've all
Yeah,
worked.
it's only been like a week.
Yet, right, it's only been like a week.
Just wait.
I could go back to, like,
The next update's gonna come out, you're gonna be like, fuck!
Right, planned obsolescence. But, yeah, I think the media apps, they're there. They're not as plentiful as Xbox.
I got one more question. Have you streamed directly from your PlayStation 5?
No, I have not.
I was going to
Just
ask, how does
because
that work? Is it the same? Do you just hit, like, the...
Yeah.
What's it now?
Because I set everything up. So I set everything up. It seems to be pretty much the same. It seems to be a bit cleaner and a bit faster, and just all the menus, fucking great. PlayStation Store, fucking great. Going through your library, fucking great. All these things that used to be slow and cumbersome on PS4, all of that.
They cleaned it up.
So I will give it that. Like, your fucking menus are clicky, snappy, fast, like, they're there to just work. You don't have to wait. Like, you don't have to choose a game in your library and then wait for it to load, the thing for you to hit download, for you to wait for it to load, to ask you what DLC, for you to wait for it to load, to, like, finally get you back to where you were. Like, none of that slowdown, all of that stuff that one of the reasons I wanted a PS4 Pro was so I could see all these menus and stuff work faster. Now they are definitively working quickly and effectively.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I haven't streamed directly from it yet because I've been pretty ADHD with what I'm playing, or I've just kind of been chilling playing games. I'm not trying to be on for the camera, you know, or I don't even have a camera for it yet. I'm not trying to just be on Twitch, you know, but yeah, so far, because I set everything up, logged into my Twitch, did all that stuff, set my streaming resolution. That is one thing. I went through the share button. By default, it brings up that menu like it did on the PS4. I had to change that to, if I press the button, just take a screenshot. If I hold the button, then bring up the menu. But, yeah, in between all of this, it's been good, I'll say. I will say the PS5 has been worth the money thus far.
That's dope.
All right.
Yeah, that's dope.
All right.
All right.
Noted.
So, before we get into these questions that Madrid had to pose to the group, has anybody been on anything of note in particular this week? Has anybody played anything out of the ordinary or anything new or groundbreaking?
Okay, I got something. It's not a game, but I've been on Claymore.
Does it have
the manga?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love how it spreads.
Yeah.
I love how it spreads.
Because I started reading it, then I put it on my back burner. I was like, damn. And then you were like, oh, well, I'll finish Claymore. I'm like, well, it's time to do it.
It's only
And
like
honestly,
it's like 170. It's like less than 175 chapters. It's a quick read.
It's
not gonna
it's like
take that long.
150. It doesn't take long at all.
Yeah, it's like
And a lot of it, it's just sword play.
There's no way it's as wordy as Dr.
oh
Stone.
no. I'm gonna tell you right now. The last 75 chapters are just fighting. The last 75 chapters.
And that is fine with
Oh
you.
no, it's
I
the
really
that
love
final
strong
fight.
Women. I really love strong women, and then it's just them swinging around huge fucking swords, like slicing Yoma into like fucking pieces. That's just amazing.
Right.
The art just gets so much better.
Duh.
Like, motherfuckers used to be ugly. I'm like, I know it's an art style, but I'm
Oh no. The art style used to be so bad. You could tell if someone was a Yomu if they smiled, because them smiles are always horrific. And I'm gonna tell you right now, even at the end of the series, can't really one of those last smiles you see is not drawn very well. It's drawn like the old style. It's great. It's great.
I bet. But those awakened beings, fucking lit. this game makes me want to play Demon Souls. So whenever I get it,
I have Demon Souls. I got through the intro. I'm not in the mood for a Soulsborne game right now. I'm sure I'll put more time into it over the years.
Start reading Claymore. You're gonna be like, maybe.
I'm so close to being caught up in Dr. Stone, bro. I'm like 30 chapters behind. I finished the Civilization of Petrification.
Yeah.
So
that shit.
But it just got real wordy, real fast.
Yeah,
so I was like, all right, I'm gonna put this down and play some fucking video.
We're in another science arc, so.
Yeah, Senku has already started explaining shit that is a multiple page long explanation. I'm like, this might as well just be a novel. Like, just write out this explanation in fucking MLA format so I can read this.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I want to see
like
if I can find the light
panels.
novel of Dr. Stone. Just take the pictures off and just give me the light novel. That might just be an easier read.
I could see it working.
Yeah. But the art is so good.
Oh yeah, the art is fucking... Every time there's a color spread, I screenshot it. I just can't help myself. I'm like, fuck, this art's so good. Alright.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jalen, anything of note you played this week? You do anything new?
Look, the dialogue in Hades just gets better and better. Like, the more runs you complete, the more stuff that happens. That game is just so good.
How many runs have you done so far?
I have no idea, actually.
Well,
I don't know.
How many have you completed? Better yet.
10, 15. I know I'm above 10 wins.
You're above 10
I know I'm
because
well
you got
above 10.
the true ending.
No, well, that's the thing about it. I have the
hidden.
main
It's
ending,
wild,
but I haven't
right?
gotten to the epilogue yet. I still haven't gotten to the epilogue yet. I mean, I haven't completed the epilogue. You know, you got to do all this other stuff, and I haven't. I'm close to getting my first companion. I just need to talk to Meg a couple of more times, and then I can get my first companion.
I need fucking Hades to come to PS4. I know it's not going to come to PS5 as the native version, but it's not one of the games that would need it in any way. Because that's what they're doing. Like, a lot of games that don't require, like, PS5 optimizations, they're just selling on PS4. Like, the Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 is coming out. Near Replicant. All these games are still slated for PS4 only release, but you can play them on PS5. So I just need a PS4 version of fucking Hades. Like, I want to play that game on my PS5 so fucking bad.
Oh man, imagine if they put the haptics on the bow.
Oh man, that'd be
They're
great.
going to put the haptics on the bow.
and the what if they,
No,
the
I need the
fist?
haptics on the
holy
fist.
Shit,
I need the
that.
haptics on the fist.
I need that in my life.
I need the haptics on all the weapons. I need Hades to have different feels on every single different weapon.
Yo, Hades, game of the year.
Heck.
World exclusive.
World exclusive.
All right, Chris, play anything of note this week?
I beat Resident Evil 3.
Hell yeah.
You're turn
Yeah.
up.
No.
How was that? Going for the platinum?
I'm gonna look at it. I'm 5 away from Resident Evil 2 Remakes Platinum, and I don't have the motivation to do that because they're so difficult. But yeah, I could do it. I feel like it's just gonna be as challenging as Resident Evil 2, so I'm just like, yeah, I can do it if I really wanted to. I just don't know if I'm gonna be good at Resident Evil Soulborn game. Yeah, it's Soulborns with guns. This is what Resident Evil 3 has turned into. You can literally, I think one of the trophies is don't take any damage during a fight, and it's just like you dodge rolling. Perfect dodge rolls throughout the entire fight.
Shit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a good time. I'm happy that I finally beat that game. It's in a runner-up with a now widening list of Game of the Year choices that I have to slim down as I'm continuing to play everything that I put off
Right.
all year.
That
Also-
is something. So I have Grease. I have After Party. I put that. I got that on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like I've been hand
Please-
picking
you
out
should-
these like
you should
gems
Just
that I'm
play
like,
After
stream
Party.
After
Just
Party.
fucking play art. Yes, please. It's such a good
I should
fucking
stream
time.
After Party because I said I was going to platinum
I
it.
got everything. I was talking about the game Everything. Like I feel like I've been meaning to play this game for years at this point, and it was on sale for like $4. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna scoop up everything." So there are PS4 games that I kind of like glossed over in the last gen that I'm now picking up on the super cheap. So yeah, Madrid, my Grease playthrough is uninhibited by the generational jump. If anything, I'm more excited to play it with it looking even fucking better on my PS5. And After Party, I'll finally give it the chance because I don't have to play on my Xbox. I just got it on my main gaming machine, and it's going to run and look as good as possible. So, you know.
Nice.
I feel you, Chris, on just trying to go back and play shit. Like, just every
It's
time
so
I look at
hard.
the baby up on your shelf, I'm like, fuck, I want to get back to Death
Oh, that
Stranding.
is something that
I don't
that
even.
should
There's
be done.
there's no way.
You know, you should do that.
There's-
now on the PS5. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely installed. Like, so I only have PS5 games on my internal SSD, but I have a 2 terabyte external plugged up. That's just whatever the fuck PS4 games I feel like playing. I got Final Fantasy VII Remake on there. I got Death Stranding.
Do you think they're going to add...
Under Night in Birth?
Do you think they're going to add Death Stranding to that list of PlayStation 5 games that you get?
You mean the PlayStation Plus collection?
Yes, that's what it's called. Is it already on there?
Okay,
Do you think
so-
they'll add it?
No, it's not on there. I could see it being added on there.
When they get the optimized version?
Well, I don't think it
No?
would, because that would mean Kojima Productions would have to go back in and keep working on that game, and I feel like they're already in production on
They
their next
definitely
title,
already
so
are.
they wouldn't want to go back and do that. So, I don't, but yeah, it's a great candidate for that. It's actually interesting. So, when you go into that, if you just get a PS5, like let's say you're coming from Xbox, and you get that, there's actually a solid library of games just there for you to play day one. When I looked at just the list that was that collection, I was like, shit, if I got a console that came with all these fucking games for free, like, that's a crazy list. Like, it's not Game Pass. Like, I understand if you get an Xbox coming from PlayStation and you get Game Pass, you have that huge library there day one.
I mean, this is
And I get that this
is a dope
isn't-
lineup.
I got the Insane trilogy, Chris. Like, finally, like, that was on the list. The Crash Bandicoot Insane
Play that shit
trilogy.
too.
That might have gotten deleted because I was moving some stuff around, but it's now, like, you claim them like PS Plus games, so they're just in your library indefinitely
That's
from
cool.
that point on. So
Nice.
I claimed all the games I didn't have. Like, I didn't have the Zombies Chronicles version of Black Ops 3, so I claimed that. I didn't have, like, the Insane trilogy. It was something else I didn't have that was on there that I was just like, fuck it, I'll scoop it. But, you know, that list, I could see Death Stranding being a great game to put on that list. To be like, hey, you've heard about Death Stranding. Like,
Come on,
Give
come
it a
on,
shot.
deliver these packages. Come on.
but yeah. So that's been really fun and interesting. All right. Anybody else got anything noteworthy before we get into Fall Guys and the Game Awards?
No.
All right. So, Madrid, you said you had 2 questions you wanted to pose to the podcast just so we could get a little bit more debate-oriented content going on the podcast. And I think the viewers and listeners would enjoy it too. So, what were
Can
the
it-
questions
I just
you
wanna-
had?
Hold
Your
on.
mind,
Before we
brother.
do this, hold on. Before we do this, can it be a little more coherent than last episode's debate?
This is not going to be... This is not an out of the
I
blue,
request
like...
chaos.
This is... I feel like this will
What
be
do
a
the
big-
viewers
to your
want,
true
or
nature.
listeners?
Devolve into the generosity.
I think this will be a bit
Take a
cleaner
shot
than
of
what
whiskey.
we've been dealing with before. Because
Okay,
I haven't drank.
so flour tortillas or corn tortillas?
What are you eating?
Making tacos.
Taco.
What kind of
You gotta
tacos?
go corn. You need that support. You need that support system.
You gotta go corn.
Okay, hold on.
well,
Hold on. To be
corn's a
okay,
bit more brittle. Like
Yeah,
flour,
I think I've
flour
been feeling
flour to
more
me
lately.
has more support. I want a flour tortilla if I'm eating chorizo and eggs in the morning. I want a corn tortilla if I'm eating like carnitas and fucking more authentic meats. If I'm going full American and eating ground beef tacos, I want flour tortillas. Fuck it. It's like it depends on what you're putting in there. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
It's like picking wheat bread over sourdough. Sometimes you want the wheat bread because it goes with what you're putting in your sandwich.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you that on base taste value. Like, it. Who the fuck keeps calling me? Oh, yeah, that is my ringtone now. For anybody who heard it busting into the audio, like, that's my ringtone now. But, yeah, just off straight up flavor, if I had to eat a tortilla on its own, I'd prefer eating just corn tortillas over flour tortillas.
It's got
But-
that sweetness.
Yeah, flour tortillas definitely have they can hold a lot more ingredients a lot better. Like, they're not going to fall apart as much. They're definitely going to...
I
kinda
definitely
sucks
like
up
my
the
tortillas,
juices,
like,
too.
like cooked. You know what I'm saying? Like if you cook the like the corn ones just right, it's just not even about to fall apart though.
Oh yeah, every time. You should never eat a raw
Oh, never,
tortilla.
never.
Just put it.
Wait,
Get you like
Who's
a
out here
flat
eating raw
non-stick skillet.
some-
Psh, psh, psh.
Hit it with some
Throw it on
hit it
there.
with some coconut
Yeah.
oil or some vegan butter. Pop, pop,
Yeah, fucking dot dot dot. Flip it
flip it
around.
toast
Do
that
it.
bitch.
You good.
Magnificent.
That's what you need to do. Never eat a raw tortilla.
Yeah, because that's how you fall off.
And if you're doing that, don't do that no more.
Right, that was the thing I learned. For the
Elevate yourself.
longest, I didn't like flour tortillas. And then I started heating up my flour tortillas, like cooking them before I put anything in them. And that it's like, it's not even a
Fucking
fucking
night and
contest
day.
anymore. Like, right. It's like, fuck, this, like, cold flour tortillas, like, it's too much of, like, a breadiness to it. Like, it doesn't, but once you heat them bad boys up, ooh-wee. So back to video games. Madrid, what was your first video game related question?
Oh yeah, you gotta be specific, brother. So no, but okay. So I know when this game first came out, we played like a lot of it. Like it was hitting, but I feel like Fall Guys is falling off. Like it didn't even get that nom for the Game Awards for Game of the Year. So
I disagree.
you
I don't think.
you don't think it fell off? When was the last time you played Fall Guys?
That's where. Let me tell you.
Go for it.
You got the floor, my brother.
Fall Guys didn't fall off. Fall Guys was there for us when we needed it at the time when we weren't really playing anything else, and then we moved on. Fall Guys didn't fall off. People are still playing Fall Guys, but Fall Guys we moved on.
Fall Guys
from
didn't
Fall
fall
Guys.
off. We fell off.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
From Fall Guys.
But
I feel you on that, Chris, but here's what I think. In terms of Madrid's question, yes, Fall Guys did fall off. Have any of you guys played Season 2?
No.
yes, no, yes. I actually played like once or twice.
Yeah, and I played
to see.
a couple
I had
games
to
in
see.
Season 2 as well. So here's what happened to Fall Guys. People discovered Among Us. Fall Guys had the craze of, like, the biggest streamers streaming it. Like, Fall Guys was inescapable until a little game called Among Us was discovered by the streaming community. And Among Us has Among Us has done... Fall Guys walked so Among Us could run. Like, AOC has streamed Among Us. Now we're at the point, like, if we're trying to play something random with people, like, and we just have a group of people, it's Among Us.
So you're playing with the homies?
I've ended up in more games of Among Us recently than I've ended up in games of Fall Guys over the entire life of that game, you know? And
I mean, you've ended up in more games. You've ended up in more games of Among Us than you ever played of Fortnite, or not Fortnite, Jesus. Fall Guys. And I'm being like you right now.
Yeah, and it's just because, like, games of Among Us are short, quick. It has that accessible, like, anybody can play it.
It's on mobile. Like, you can just run it. Like, yeah. I'm pretty sure Ash is in there playing with his friends right now.
Right, and so, like, that's the thing. Fall Guys was one of those games. It's like you could present this to anybody and get them interested in it, but there was that barrier of entry of, oh, it's only on PC and PS4. Oh, it's $20, or, like, it was free for that month on PlayStation Plus. Like, there are a lot of barriers to entry, whereas Among Us is $5 on PC or free on your phone. And it's something a group of people can come together. It's very streamable. I feel like the reason that Fall Guys fell off, especially in, like, circles like ours, and I'm not even talking about just our specific community. In other gaming communities that I'm in where people are playing games, the same people who were playing Fall Guys have now switched over to Among Us, because it's not as involved, you know?
And I think another major factor is that with Among Us, you can play with, 10 people, 12 people, something like that. Like, Fall Guys, 10 people, Fall Guys, you're capped at, 4. You know, and then, the servers, you're just fucking falling and shit like that. Granted, they've kind of, solved some of that, because, obviously, they're fucking getting slammed. But...
Right, yeah. It has been, I haven't had any network issues since I've gone back after that initial
I'm sure it's smooth now.
I haven't had any network issues.
Also, it's not as many people playing, I would assume. But...
I feel like...
I think what they need to do is add, more custom lobbies to where you can play with, an exclusive group of people. Like, you can go in, 20
that
deep.
Was something we said.
Something like that would change the fucking game. Like, you could legit have a game show.
Us a private lobby.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and they're always running Twitch rivals with Fall Guys. You would think they would do something like that.
So what I'm kind of getting from what you guys are saying about Among Us and why they took over is because Among Us is more of a personal experience. You're playing with people you want to play with.
Right.
And that's it. You're not playing with anybody else, and that's what Fall Guys is lacking.
So those are two huge dubs.
Right, but there are people that are playing. Like, I haven't played them. Well, actually, the first time.
That's what I'm saying. It's two. You know what I'm saying?
I have a couple of thoughts on the whole thing.
I can shoot both of you.
Y'all are right. It's the fact that, not Fall Guys. Among Us is a better community game. Like, role games are always good with a bunch of people. And we're in the middle of a pandemic. That's what pretty much a lot of people have been doing this entire year. And then, with the fact that Fall Guys doesn't have custom lobbies, private lobbies, kind of does hurt it a little bit. Custom or private lobbies.
Custom or private.
But I also think with...
Yeah, I feel like that hurts it, because if you were a big streamer and you wanted to do a Fall Guys stream, you could get a bunch of people on, get a full lobby.
That's the thing about it, though, is I also still like the fact that I can just drop in, do a couple of rounds of Fall Guys real quick before I go to work. I'll do a couple of... That's how I ended up playing Fall Guys recently. I played a couple of rounds before I went into my shift at Susie's. And I don't feel like I can do that with Among Us. That's not something I feel like I could just drop in, play a couple of rounds, and, move on with my life.
I mean, but you kind of could, though. Honestly, if you're on your phone, you just
that's the thing with the phone version. I have minor beef with the phone version, because if your phone locks or anything, you're disconnected from the game.
It's far from perfect.
You're absolutely right. And also, with me personally,
I like playing it
actually
on
stopped
Steam.
playing Among Us, and I've been playing a different version called
Yeah.
Unfortunate Spacemen. That's been a lot of fun. It's Among Us, but more.
Well, I mean, shoot that
expansive,
into
like,
the Among Us chat.
The monsters have more abilities.
Yeah, I think there are some people. Yeah, I think people would be more interested in something like that. I feel like Among Us kind of built a base for people to get into different games.
I
like
think it
this.
came in
So,
at the
like,
right
if you
time.
got that,
I
I'd
think
definitely
because
say drop it in
more
the
people
Among
are at
Us
home
chat.
more consistently. Some of the smaller groups have gotten bigger. That there's more of a demand for that type of game, but I'm not willing to say Among Us was the big one because it's like
Cheesy Controller Podcast Discord growing by the day.
I'm not sure Among Us. I want to say the start of needing for that genre actually came with Animal Crossing in March. The actual desire for games like this really started with Animal Crossing back in March. We want to say what really started this whole.
Imagine if Animal Crossing added an Among Us style mode when you have online play, like when you go to each other's island. That would be nuts.
Right. Imagine just started playing a role game immediately.
Animal Crossing, this all could be yours.
Well, the Konami patent. So remember how games used to let you play mini games while they were loading? Mm-hmm. Konami had the patent on that, and that patent actually expired pretty recently. I think the first game that, and I can't think of any other games that have done it since the patent expired, but the original Splatoon, you could play a little squid jump mini game on the gamepad while you waited for the actual game to load. So, I'd definitely be down for a single round of Fall Guys while I'm waiting for something to load. While I'm not waiting for much to load on my PS5. It'd still be something
flex.
that'd be fun. I could definitely play a little shoot 'em up in between levels of
Near?
Actually, that's the thing about it. With the load times that fast, those games are pointless.
Very true. You are
But
right.
I will say, bring back mini games. Add
saying
mini
it
game collections into your games. I'm 300% for that.
I mean, we need another Frobisher Says on PS5. And for people who don't know what Frobisher Says is, it's just WarioWare, the PlayStation knockoff brand, but it's just as fucking good.
Okay. So what's the final verdict on Fall Guys?
Yeah, it
I
fell
don't think
off.
it fell off. I think it's solidified.
It has nowhere near the player base. It has nowhere near the viewer base.
Yeah, I think the people who were playing Fall Guys to play Fall Guys are still.
I don't think it did anything wrong.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think Fall Guys
I don't
will be
think it did.
when they implement customs. I think then when it gets that huge spike from that, I think it's going to be solidified. Because it's right now, I think it's still not living up to its fullest
not
potential.
living up.
I'm not saying it's
okay.
It's a games as a service, so it's getting there. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice, fun game. It's more cooked than a lot of things that came out as a games as a service. I'm looking at you, Avengers.
I mean,
come on,
kick them while they're down.
I'm
just saying, I knew that shit was undercooked even before the fucking beta. That was just oh waiter, what is the fuck is this?
My final thing with Fall Guys, I don't think it fell off. I think it was a fad that we got tired of or moved on from. But me as a person who plays Rocket League, that was a fad that everyone loved back in the day that no longer plays. And it's just a person who loves Rocket League.
Right. Rocket League
has had its highest concurrent player count ever since it's gone free to play. Rocket League has more people playing it now than it ever did. Fall Guys is never going to have that.
I think it could.
Fall Guys is never going to be.
But I wouldn't say all that.
It could if it goes free to play.
I think it could.
Yeah. I mean, it has the same concept. You have 3 to 4 players on one team doing obstacles or
But
playing.
a lot of it is them figuring it out as they go. You know,
Yeah,
I'm sure they have a plan and they're trying to get to the point where they can execute that. And then I'm sure they just got a huge boost in like
And also
money.
another thing about it, though,
Right.
We're going
But
to
to
see
me-
the results of that sooner or later.
But to
right
me,
now, it's
and then on
like-
top of that,
living up to
Among Us
that
is just an
fullest
easier
potential.
game
To
to
me,
stream.
like, Rocket
you can
League-
get a couple of people sit down, string some Among Us. Like, you could easily read chat and do all your stream stuff.
I don't want to compare Among Us to Fall Guys. See, I don't want to compare Among Us and Fall Guys because those are two totally different games, except for the fact that
No, they're
we
both
play with
both
them
games
with
that are
friends.
But
they're
they-
having
but
like
they kinda
really
scratch
big,
at that
bad,
same
like
Yeah.
that are
market.
being boosted up. They're having a
Yeah.
moment. They're two games that were having a moment
Yeah,
this year.
I just feel
Like
Yeah.
the overlap is
Yes,
the
and I
overlap
feel like
is
Among
fucking
Us is
this.
fallen. Like Among Us is now not being
too many
as popular
too many big
as it
streamers are
was.
consistently playing that.
Maybe
That's
say
the
a
thing
month
about it.
ago.
Because it's an easy game to play with your viewers.
right.
Yeah.
It's
And while big streamers were consistently
It's an easy
playing,
streamer game.
Fall Guys, like Tim the Tap Man, like some of these big streamers, I don't feel like it's Ninja. I saw Ninja fucking stream Fall Guys. I have not seen Ninja stream Fall Guys again. You know, like the big streamers were streaming Fall Guys, and I feel like that kind of mainstream recognition that it was getting, it's just not going to get again. Unless they make like some crazy change, like making it free to play. But I mean, they made a shit ton of money
I think also
selling
the
it
thing-
at $20.
I also think the
So-
thing specifically with like
Yeah.
Among Us in comparison to Fall Guys specifically is it comes down to the lobbies. Like the thing with Among Us is at the end of the day, a streamer could go into their channels or whatever their communication mention and saying, "Hey, we're going to be playing Among Us in like 5 minutes," and have everyone in for a game, and you can't really. Among Us is a better community game than Fall Guys, so Among Us is going to last longer in the streaming charts than a game like Fall Guys. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, but if it's able to inject those community aspects into it more, I think it could do the same thing.
Yeah, and also
If
it's
it
always
lives
fun
up
to
to
live.
its
Yeah,
potential.
honestly, I feel like it is. I feel like Fall Guys could add a little more personality into, or have a little more personality shown. What the fuck is that? Twitch gets wild sometimes. Yeah, but I feel like it can have a little more personality known with just like the wild things that go on in Fall Guys. From the streams that I have watched when it was popular, seeing people just like freak out and doing things and just like going through the platforming, I think Fall Guys could come back, but I don't think it's going to come back as big as it ever will. Just like,
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Fall Guys could have a comeback. I don't think Fall Guys is ever going to beat its top concurrent players.
What about when it?
Right.
What about when it goes to Game Pass? You think that'll happen?
no, I don't I think, okay, yes, I believe it's going to be as the same as Rocket League. Yes, it'll have a lot of players. It's not going to be big on Twitch again. Rocket League's not big on Twitch. Rocket League's just going to have a bunch of, it's just going to have a bunch of players who are playing it, and they're going to enjoy it, and it's just, people are going to play it when they want to play it, and if they like the game, they're going to keep playing it. If they don't like the game, they're going to play it, and then move on to something else. And that's all it's going to become. And that's okay. Just as long as people play the game. That's all Fall Guys cares about.
You're right. All right, Madrid, what was the other question you had to ask? Because I know it was related to the Game Awards, and I think we might do a Game Awards prediction episode as we get closer. For anybody who doesn't know, Game Awards voting is open, so you can go to thegameawards.com and vote.
Okay. Well,
They
shit.
take-
Let's talk about the Game Awards real quick, and I'll just
Yeah, let's
ask
talk
my
about the
question
nominations and all that jazz. Who's up? Who's
There
not?
is a shit ton. Like, that's the reason I wasn't trying
Let's
to do it right
talk
now.
about
is
the
'cause
important ones.
there is-
Well, yeah, no. Let's just do
fucking
a couple of the
assload.
important ones before we finish off for the night.
All right, so I'll start with best game direction, get through a few of the game related ones, and then I'll end with game of the year. But so best game direction, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, and The Last of Us. Excuse me, The Last of Us Part 2.
We're doing art direction.
So No, best game direction.
Game direction.
The one right up under Game of the Year. And I'm just going to go down from there until we get into the... Yeah.
I get game direction and art direction confused sometimes, even though they're not the same things.
Okay, so yeah, I said The Last of Us Part 2 because I feel like just like as a cohesive whole, The Last of Us Part 2 is one of the strongest experiences I've played this year, and my decision on that might change to I could see any of these games winning. The only one that I know that I haven't put any time into and don't intend to put any time into is Half-Life Alyx. But just as far as the direction and the purpose that these games are trying to accomplish and do accomplish, I feel like all of these are strong contenders.
I voted for Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
My vote is either going to go for game direction. It's definitely either going to go to Ghost. It's probably going to go to Ghost. Just
because like with the way that just looking at Legends mode, I haven't played story mode much. Like just based off of Legends mode, like
story
the
mode.
way they executed that shit.
Heck, I give it to you the story mode. Like when you're when you're in those 1v1s, how the camera sets
just
right,
like
it makes you just
mode.
want to go into options, turn on Kurosawa mode just for the fight, so you can have that black and white good old. And then just the way that the game is able to communicate what you need to do without the use of a bunch of HUD elements. That's oh, that feels nice. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
But I also really enjoyed the game direction in Hades. But
yes,
I can
like
save
that
one
is
for
Right.
later.
Hades
You
is the
just voted
definition
for
of
Hades
systems
in
on
every
systems.
category Hades was in.
Yo, like mostly shit. But, and then Final Fantasy VII.
Okay, so the best game direction
That
is
one kinda
awarded
split me.
for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
Yeah.
How did Final Fantasy VII have...
It did those things, but it also did other things to make me be like,
I'm sticking out of this
Right,
one.
yeah,
I
I
did
feel
not
like
play
it
Final
fits-
Fantasy VII. I have not touched it. I knew I wasn't playing that this year. So,
But the things that they did, like with the combat and like the way like the story ends up, kind of remaking, like
Fuck,
that
man,
shit.
I need episode Crisis Core. Fucking make
Oh
it
my-
goddamn happen, Square. Like,
Bro,
go.
there's literally a point in the game during a cutscene. I just pick up my controller. I'm like, what's about to happen?
All
But
right. So,
that shit's amazing. But there are other things that it does where I'm like, I don't know about it.
all right.
I can't remember those things, but it's not important.
All right, so the next category is Best Narrative for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game. We have 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2.
I really
While
want
I-
to play 13 Ages.
Yeah,
I haven't
that
played
is one thing, like, I don't think any of us have, and, like, it was something that was kind of on my radar, but I was like, it's one of those games I'll play whenever. But it getting nominated for a game award is a big enough deal that...
Right. I really want to go check this out now.
yeah.
Right. I voted for Last of Us Part 2 because while I had some disagreements with the narrative choices they made, at the end of the day, the beginning to end narrative of that game was compelling and held my attention and made me, while I wasn't playing that game, want to come back to that game to play more. Like, The Last of Us Part 2 is the longest single-player narrative game that I have played front to back in probably the last several years. And it's for narrative reasons that it compelled me like that. Like Ghost of Tsushima, I want to be back for world building. Hades, I want to be back for Hades, I could see taking it.
Nah,
but
actually, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Hades
I'm
was
gonna tell
my
you right now,
number two
Anton, about
straight up,
Ghost, about
just
that
based
narrative
on
in
the
Ghost.
conversation.
It's that the narrative in Ghost, the story that they're telling, loops back into the gameplay so well. Like the internal conflict that they're bringing up with the whole do you want to be an honorable samurai, or would you rather just be a very, very efficient ninja? Like, God, being a ninja is so efficient. But, like, it loops into the game.
I remember the first time Jin killed somebody.
It loops back into the gameplay. It loops back into the systems. It loops back into the upgrade system. It's... The narrative of Ghost is... It's either between Ghost and Hades for me. Just for narrative.
Okay, so the one I actually ended up voting for was Final Fantasy VII. Because of what they did with the story. Like, the way that they flushed out the Midgar saga and, like...
I mean, heck, this is the most screen time Aerith ever had.
Right, yo, that fucking, Avalanche as a whole, like that... the story of Avalanche in Final Fantasy VII, like... Biggs, Wedge, Jess... They're just a couple unfortunate NPCs, but in this, they're people. Like, you meet Jess's family,
Right.
The horniest on May.
Like, the characters they added. The final boss rush. Like, holy shit. Like, that story is good. That story is really good. And I'm just really excited to see what they do going forward with these other parts, because it's wide open. It's wide the fuck open. So I had to give it to that. But Hades and that fucking dialogue,
yo,
I can see them winning.
You
this
just find out
so
more and more. It's so good.
And anytime I play Ghost, I'm not disappointed. So this is
yeah. All these so categories are super tough.
It's so tough.
So best art direction for outstanding creative and or technical achievement in artistic design and animation. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, and Last of Us Part 2. So here, I gave it to Hades straight up. That fucking art direction is goddamn A1. Just everybody who is an artist, animator, designer at fucking Supergiant, somebody send them a fucking... Somebody send them something.
Send them a check and a gift basket. So good God.
So right. Like, all these games are really stacked right now. Like, Final Fantasy VII, the same thing. The soundtrack, I know that's not, like, specifically stated here, but that soundtrack, the way it's designed, the way Aerith looks, the way that Tifa is crafted, like, fucking, like, the pain in Barrett's eyes.
Ghost definitely, like, the art direction in Ghost. Fucking Legends kick that shit.
Ghost.
Look, right, Legends kicks that shit to another fucking level. But Ghost has some of the craziest art. If you can just, like, freeze frame that game.
Whatever the name of that raid boss is,
and get
just
a solid wallpaper.
Just that.
Io?
Oh my god.
But yeah, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, I will give a shout out. Like, everything I've seen from that game looks fantastic.
Oh no, that game looks amazing too. I can't wait to play it someday.
Right, yeah. At some point, when I have some free time in my life, I'll play that game. Maybe that'll be one of the Xbox games that comes over to PS4.
I was gonna say whenever I get my Xbox Series X,
Cuphead came over to PlayStation, and then Ori's on the same tier as Cuphead. Like, Cuphead came to Switch, and then Ori, the original Ori, came to Switch. So I could see.
But Ori's been out for a very long time.
Well, no, Ori and the Will of the Wisp came out this year.
I'm talking about, like, the past Ori's.
Ori and the Blind Forest?
Yeah, the first one was the Blind Forest, and that came to Switch after being out for a while. So I could see it and, like, think about how long it took Cuphead to come to PlayStation. Like, it eventually happened.
We were still working at Son of My Belly when 5 years ago.
And Cuphead just came out this year on PS4.
Right.
So I could see Ori maybe making its way to PlayStation at some point. Mm-hmm. But, when I do end up with the Xbox Series S/X, that's something I could definitely see. So the next category is Best Score and Music. For outstanding music inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack, we have Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Hades, which I voted for because and
wait,
Ori
Hades. Wait, that's the Doom soundtrack.
Shut up, Jalen. You know what I mean.
And that's not even Doom Eternal. That's 2016.
Hades Hades has a lot of that vibe to it. You're going through hell either
I do not
way.
find. Actually, I do not find that vibe out of Good Riddance.
Oh.
At all.
Oh my god.
Ashley Barrett, she can fucking... Any song that Darren Corbin and Ashley Barrett do together is a banger. They can
all
do
I'm
no
saying
wrong.
is, I just want Eurydice to do my hair while I feast upon palm porridge. That's all I want.
Yo,
just her to
honestly,
do some protective styles while I just...
Eurydice, please, like, either
just
twist
do my
me up
hair.
or give me straight backs. Grease my scalp, please. Please, ma'am.
Look, you gotta go see
But
Eurydice for that hair care.
I actually voted for Final Fantasy because, come on.
Oh, I voted Hades.
Actually, I have not...
legit listened to the soundtrack of
I've
Hades.
not heard the...
in
What is
real
the
world.
7 version of Sephiroth's theme hitting on this year?
Man, you just go listen to the remake soundtrack and come
I got it
report
up
back.
here.
I mean, I haven't done any of
bro.
my voting yet because there's some games that I still need to finish off of this.
I think you can vote more than once. I'm not sure. We'll see. By the time the next episode rolls around, I'll know. But, like, voting legitimately opened today, so I voted. It was an arduous process, but I sat down and voted in all these categories.
Yeah, just know that it's good.
All right, so Best Audio Design recognizes Best In-Game Audio and Sound Designs. We have Doom Eternal, Half-Life Alyx, Ghost of Tsushima, Resident Evil 3, and The Last of Us Part 2.
I'd give that to Doom. Wholesale.
Resident Evil 3.
I gave it to Last of Us Part 2 just because the sound, like, I played that game with headphones because 3D, like, you could tell where shit was coming from because of the audio design in that game.
I went Ghost.
The audio, okay, first of all, no, Ghost was like, the sound of the Ghost is fine, but to me, like, playing Resident Evil 3...
That was like the only one I played.
Resident Evil 3 really had solid sound direction, just like, you
The
felt...
zombie noises.
I mean, even with everything, like music and just, yeah, you felt it with the sound and the lighting throughout the entire game that you were like, it was getting to you. And so that's why I picked 3. It made you feel like you were in that situation.
It sounded, yeah. I have to give it to Doom because its sound design has saved my life in multiple fights. Like, half the time, I'm in there moving from enemy to enemy, listening for cues. Like, you hit that little... Like, if I hear what sounds like Grunt's birthday party, I know I'm safe for about 0.5 seconds. Oh, it's satisfying getting that snipe right. Just hear that pop.
All right. So I'm skipping a couple categories. Best performance because I feel like we could argue that one all day, and games for impact because... I don't think any of us have played any of these games.
I'm currently playing Tell Me Why. Currently.
Okay.
Off of Game Pass. But it's episodic, so I'm not ready to talk about it.
Yeah, I want to play Kentucky Route Zero because that's a game, like, I kind of want to check that out, but I'm skipping
I want to play
best
Spirit Fair,
performance.
so...
Yeah. So I'm skipping games for impact. I'm going to best ongoing. Awarded to a game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player base and experience over time. So we have Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite, and No Man's Sky. I voted Apex Legends
I went Apex
because I feel like every time I go
can
back
also
to
see
Apex,
Destiny.
so much has changed so significantly and for the better of that game. Okay, we might be having some technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'd be fine giving it to Destiny 2 because Beyond Light is stupid. Stasis is stupid.
Beyond Light's
Yeah.
fun, but I feel like Apex has more going for it more consistently.
When does Shadowkeep come out?
I hate this
A
category.
year ago.
I hate this category because Final Fantasy 14 should have won this last year, but I gave it
didn't?
to Destiny. Last year, no. Fortnite did. So
yeah.
fuck this category, but I picked Destiny 2 too. Just because everything I'm hearing is solid.
I like their, 10-week seasons format that they're doing? Mm-hmm. The season format is just the best for the ongoing game.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're on
I
a
feel
mobile
like
game, don't
Apex
have
does a
that
pretty
format. You're
solid
failing
job with
yourself.
that too.
I do want to shout out No Man's Sky. Like, No Man's Sky has added hellish shit to their game over time.
Oh, yeah, shouts
VR,
out to them.
crossplay, like, they keep adding major, major, major features to their game. And, like, it's even bigger than what people's ambitions for it were when they originally announced it. Like, they added all the shit that was missing that they wanted to accomplish, and it's just, I feel like, shout out No Man's Sky, you know? Alright, so Best Indie for outstanding creative and technical achievement in the game made outside of the traditional publisher system. We have Carry On, Fall Guys, Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. And I voted Hades because shout out Supergiant Games.
Freaking Hades, man! Like
It's freaking Hades.
But I think that Spelunky 2 is gonna win this because people who are Spelunky fans are some
Spelunky 2 is
die-hard
good.
motherfuckers.
It is that game has done some
Spelunky 2 is
stupid
good.
shit. Like the
I have
different
Spelunky
routes
2
you can take
installed
through
on my PS5, so
the different
Right.
routes you can take to get places. Just good God, that map is expansive.
I picked Carry On just because that game looks tight.
yeah, I
Okay,
can't wait
just-
to Carry On to
yeah.
come to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll get Carry On, but I actually voted Fall Guys because the impact that it had when it dropped, like that shit was
a good time.
wild. Like looking at it, I'm like, yo, this just looks trolly as fuck. But when it finally came out and it was like on PlayStation Plus, that shit was a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Hades. I fucking love it, but you know,
I was like, Hades needs to.
I'm like,
So
that's the easy dub for Hades. So I'm gonna have to slide this to Fall Guys.
All right, so best mobile game for the best game playable on a mobile device, we had Among Us, Call of Duty Mobile, Genshin Impact, Legends of Runeterra, and Pokemon Cafe Mix.
I didn't even know Cafe Mix.
I definitely voted Genshin Impact.
I voted
Among Us.
Among Us.
Among Us.
Yeah.
I went Call of Duty Mobile. That game's actually kind of fun on mobile.
Yeah, all of these games are good.
Yeah.
I will say that, like, Pokemon Cafe Mix came out on Switch first, but I was waiting for it to come to mobile to play it there. But then I've just been flooded. Like, every time I'm on my phone, I'm on fucking something. Now that I have Apple Arcade, so I don't know. I feel like a lot of these games, because like I have Call of Duty Mobile installed, I have Genshin Impact installed, I have Legends of Runeterra installed, and I have Pokemon Cafe Mix installed. I've just played the most Among Us out of all of these, and I feel like Among Us being on phones has helped that game more than any of these other games, you know?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to skip Best Community Support and Best VR and AR and Accessibility because none of us are really using a lot of the accessibility options in games. Best
And also, I have not played a single game with these accessibility options, but I would vote Last of Us 2. Like, the accessibility options in that game is honestly kind of fucking disgusting, and I do love it.
Okay,
you can almost play that game.
Support, what did y'all vote?
Necessary.
Because I voted Fall Guys for community support because they kept adding in all those like community requested skins.
Community support.
Oh no, definitely Fall Guys because they had freaking for charity they had an open bid for a skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
so
definitely
just, like,
Fall Guys.
Dealing with the Fall Guys Twitter account and stuff, I feel like community support. Like, I voted Fall Guys. Best VR and AR, I voted Dreams.
Alex,
You voted Alex. Well, yeah, I
sorry.
voted Dreams just because Dreams came out this year, and I feel like it needed something.
Yeah, I also voted Dreams. It could use some love, especially for
Alex
like, what
has
it's
changed the
what
game
you're able
on
to do
how-
with it.
Mm-hmm.
Alex has changed the game on what VR can do. It was like that is one of those games that is like you look at that game as like that is a step in the right direction for VR. I'm excited to see what this generation can bring.
Yeah, and we said innovation and accessibility. I'd vote The Last of Us. You'd vote The Last of Us. Madrid.
The Last of Us, for sure.
Okay. And Chris.
Same thing.
Okay, yeah. The Last of Us, they really did go out of their way to make sure that game was fully accessible for as many people as possible. Like, so best action game. This is the next one. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combat, we have Doom Eternal, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4.
Oh, and Hades.
I gotta go Doom. That's Doom right there. That's freaking Doom.
Yeah, best action, Doom.
Doom's understandable, but Hades, like, for me, the combat in Hades is so goddamn
so
good.
It is so good. The fucking randomness of the boons mixed with the solid foundation of the weapons. But then also it's not that you can random, you can change up. It's not that random, but you don't know what you're gonna get. For the most part, you can think that you're going to run a certain build, but you could end up running something completely like what the fuck, and end up slapping your dad in the face.
Oh yeah,
it's great. It's great.
All right, so the next, I feel you on.
I understand.
None of us are arguing.
Look, I'm just saying. There's something about sniping it's about jumping, dashing, swinging, sniping a demon. Sniping another one to get close enough for the glory kill, land the glory kill just to give you the time to refresh your dash for a blood punch. God, that's a fighting game in disguise as a shooter. It's amazing.
Alright, so the next category we have is Best Action/Adventure for the best action-adventure game combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. We had Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Huh?
I have beef with this list.
Okay, well, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and The Last of Us Part 2.
Like, that's why I think, Star Wars The Fallen Order is my example of why I think their cutoff isn't the best cutoff. Their cutoff should be early December, not November.
Well, I feel like they moved it back
Star
this
Wars
year.
Just so it needs some love.
I voted Miles Morales just because
that also needs some love.
Yeah, that needs some love, and I feel like it's a good game, and it's just not getting recognition because it came out on launch and is getting flooded out. But it's a more
and also it came out a week. Was it a full week before nominations? Nominations came out today, right?
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been a full week since this game's been out. I will say.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I voted Miles Morales. You voted Star Wars.
I voted Star Wars.
Chris and Jalen, what would you guys vote?
I voted Miles Morales just because I felt like it needed some love too.
Okay.
That's fair.
This is one of those I'm not sure yet. It's between Ghost and Spider-Man.
Okay. Best role-playing game for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. So we got Final Fantasy VII Remake, Genshin Impact, Persona 5 Royal, Wasteland 3, and Yakuza Like a Dragon. I voted Persona 5 Royal. I know Madrid went to get something Persona 5 related. He'll be... Yep. I got fucking Persona
I voted for Yakuza Like a Dragon.
What?
No, I voted for Persona, but no, honestly, I feel like Persona should have been in that Game of the Year category, but whatever.
It's fine.
They're not going to bless it twice.
Persona 5 is going to win this. It's
sure,
either going to be Persona 5 or Wasteland 3, because some people see role-playing game and think Wasteland, they think Fallout, they think that style of game. Some people think RPG and think JRPG, so they think either Final Fantasy VII Remake or Persona 5. And I feel like Persona 5 Royal, I feel like it's a stronger argument for the best role-playing game this year out of all of these games.
I really like that.
But Yakuza is also doing some really incredible things in this space.
I do really want Yakuza Like a Dragon. Hashtag Sega.
And I love a good. We all love a good immigrant story.
List. Right. It addresses so many things. The immigrant story of fucking like homelessness, social injustices,
reconnecting to the world after being stuck in prison for years. Like, what?
Right.
Like, yo.
Right, the prison industrial complex. And Persona touches on a few of those things, but like
Yeah, right. Like Persona touches
both
on
these games
suicide
needed some
and
both of
exploiting
these games
child
needed some more
labor.
love. Like straight up. Jeff Keighley, go ahead, you can shoot us those nomination slots. We can nominate some more games for you. Like we're free, we're available, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You get some different opinions in there. Add us to the academy, if you will.
CCControllerPodcast@gmail.com, you know.
For the culture. Add us in the rupees.
All right,
Get us
so
ganged out.
the next category is Best Fighting Game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat, Granblue Fantasy Versus, Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter V Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows, or Under Night In-Birth EXE Late Clur. I voted Under Night because while Granblue was a great game, first of all, Mortal Kombat needs to stop putting out new versions so it can keep getting nominated for fighting game every fucking year.
Right.
I'm tired of seeing Mortal Kombat on Best Fighting Game nominations.
Street Fighter does the same shit. What are you talking about?
Very true.
Yeah, what are you talking
Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, both of y'all can sit the fuck down. And
They're always on that list.
the One Punch Man game, if you voted for that, you're disowned.
Come on.
What?
One Punch Man game, for sure, all the way. Saitama can literally show up and end the match. Oh my god, that's so big.
No, literally, straight up, if you have Saitama on your team, you're on a timer until you're allowed to play him, and he auto-wins.
Yeah, I know. I've seen it. It's a funny joke, but at the end of the day, it's not Granblue Fantasy Versus or Under Night In-Birth.
I mean, honestly, we know what the fuck we were playing this year. We were playing Under Night.
Yeah. Like, I like
100%.
Granblue. I pre-ordered and played. Like, I've played more Granblue than all of you guys. And still, at the end of the day, Under Night is the better
But all four of us have sat here and played Under Night.
Yeah. Throwing many a hand.
Just deep.
All of them.
All right, so the last, game category I want to talk about before we get into... I want to touch on the content creator and stuff like that. I want to talk about the best family game category.
We can't
skip the best Nintendo game category?
Hold up. We can't skip the Sim one.
Okay, so we'll talk about family, then simulation, and then we'll talk about content creator, and then we'll talk about game of the year.
Oh my god. We're going to hit 2 hours this week.
Yeah, that's how I was like, y'all really want to go through this? And y'all were like, yeah, let's go.
We hit the ones I was hoping to hit already. I'm
we
good.
Got the energy.
Okay, well, we're skipping family. Best sim/strategy game.
You're skipping family?
We know which one is going to win sim. We all know it. We can just say it.
Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Fucking let's go.
Let's go.
Really?
Hashtag.
That's what I want.
Crusaders Kings 3 was doing something for that community, but okay.
Yeah, and I mean, XCOM Chimera Squad did stuff for that community.
No, it didn't.
Actually,
Chimera Squad did not. Chimera Squad did not.
I liked what I played of Chimera Squad.
But nothing did anything close to
Chimera Squad is... That's the funny thing, is Chimera Squad is good for people like you, who haven't played the other XCOM games.
I have XCOM 2.
I didn't say have, I said played.
You're right. But yeah, so sim strategy, I voted Flight Simulator. I could see any of these other games taking it because they combine the simulation and the strategy. Like, if it were just simulation, Microsoft Flight Sim would work. If it were just strategy, I could see Crusader Kings winning. But I feel like a lot of these others will, the votes will be split a bit too much for, for it being a category that covers multiple genres. Like, the sports and racing, who the fuck knows who's going to win? Because for some reason, 2K and FIFA are on the same list as Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
I mean, what options do you have?
Tony Hawk.
Straight...
I have a best sports game and a best racing game.
Right.
Separate those two categories. I get
but the thing about it is, then you're going to end up with a very small pool. We get 2 major soccer releases, 1 major NBA release, 1 major NFL. You get a couple of racing games: Forza, Drift, F1. When was the last time we got a Gran Turismo?
Gran Turismo 7 is on its way.
The last time.
That'll be for next year.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like there's not that many games to list. Release. You got to put them together. There's not that many games there. You don't get games like F-Zero anymore. No one wants to get weird with the shit.
So, for Content Creator of the Year, it is for a streamer or content creator who has made an important and positive impact on the community in 2020. We have Alana Pierce, J. Ann Lopez, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman, and Valkyrae. I voted Alana Pierce because I legitimately actually watch her content. Like, she's the one person out of this that I watch on Twitch, watch on YouTube, listen to on podcasts. Like, I understand J. Ann Lopez started Black Girl Gamers and has done a lot for the community.
That's why I voted for Jay in the first place.
I voted for Jay. She's done way too much for that community in particular, and then other communities as a whole. Like Black Girl Gamers is fucking.
And then also the content.
A lot of the streamers
really,
we met were affiliated with them.
Yeah,
and they were all super nice, super cool. Yeah. So I'm like,
and her community is
community. Yeah, Black women.
Right. We need them. But yeah.
Come on.
I just voted Alana because
Alana's been doing great things too. I really don't know much about the other people in this category. They're I've heard of Tim the Tatman.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Nick Merckx. He's in FaZe Clan, which means he probably lives in Atlanta, And I know absolutely nothing about Valkyrae. She has the 100 Thieves logo on her shirt in the picture, so... Yeah, but... So, the final thing I'm going to talk about, so we don't fucking just murder both our editors in this one fucking episode, I want to talk about the big one, the GOTY. The Game of the Year category recognizes a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. So we have Doom Eternal from id Software and Bethesda. We have Final Fantasy VII Remake from Square Enix. We have Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch and Sony Interactive Entertainment. We have Hades from Supergiant Games. We have Animal Crossing New Horizons from Nintendo. And The Last of Us Part 2 from Naughty Dog and Sony Interactive Entertainment. I voted Hades. I'm going to keep it a buck. It's
you know what? That's an acceptable answer. That is a very acceptable answer.
All of these answers are very acceptable. I
voted for Persona 5 Royal.
Ghost of Tsushima, just because that's really the only game on this list that I played. I really need to get to Last of Us Part 2.
Just because I want to finish Ghost, I am done with
Ghost. I own Hades.
Honestly, that's it for me. Final Fantasy VII, that's honestly a close second.
I have Hades, so I need to play Hades by the end of this year. And I need to get Last of Us Part 2 because...
After you finish Ghost, go ahead and inject Hades.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say play The Last of Us Part 2, but, at the same time,
if you can get to Last of Us Part 2 before our Game of the Year, go for it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, The Last of Us Part 2, I'd like to have a conversation with someone else on the podcast who had actually played and experienced and, formed an opinion on that game based on that game and not, everything around that game and all the fucking bullshit and, think pieces and, I just want to be able to talk when we do. It's not my Game of the Year, but, when we get there, I want to be able to at least have a conversation outside of the spoiler cast that we did. Check it out, cheesycontrollerpodcast.com.
I mean, and I do just love the idea of, because Last of Us Part 2 is a survival horror, and I do love the idea of a survival horror getting Game of the Year.
It is way more survival horror than The Last of Us Part... It is way more survival and way more horror than The Last of Us Part 1.
And that's what I'm about.
That game legitimately had me scared.
Nice.
All right, so
I can see any of these games winning though, except for Doom.
Shout out to all. Yeah, I don't like. I know a lot of people Doom.
No shade to Doom, but it's Doom. You know?
Like
it's, you're killing demons. Like you're killing Nazis. You're killing demons.
The sound. Look, everything becomes a blur when it hits right. You just got this look. You know you're done ripping and tearing when the music ends. That's your only signal to stop. Is the music done?
It's Chainsaw Man, the fucking video game?
Yes, and you have a chainsaw. And don't forget you carry a chainsaw.
Yang, 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 yang.
Makima, in your perfect world, will there be bad movies? Of course not.
All right. Do you have one more thing before Madrid just goes out here spoiling manga?
Wait, was anything spoiled though?
Hey, if you're not reading Chainsaw Man, that's your own fault at this point.
Yeah. Go read Chainsaw Man.
Go read Chainsaw Man.
Hold on. I actually have enough cable to do this now. I did buy a new headset because my old headset had just been through way too much. So I got a Razer Kikyo for console headset. But read Chainsaw Man.
Kikyo?
Oh, fuck yeah.
I think that's what it was. Not the Kikyo's the camera. I forget what the fuck this shit's called. But does anybody have that one more thing other than read Chainsaw Man?
Read the Internet Explorer webcomic. Webtoon. Read that. Read that.
Interspecies Reviewer?
I didn't say Interspecies Reviewer. You watch that. But, no, the Internet Explorer webcomic. It's a webcomic about internet browsers and they're fighting, and it's amazing. It's great.
Okay, noted.
All right.
I think they added more Afro hairstyles to Animal Crossing.
Yes, more
check that out.
people of color hairstyles for your pleasure. His and hers.
Nice.
Remember, you can follow us all collectively around... And theirs. Remember, you can follow us all collectively around the internet, cheesycontrollerpodcast.com. You can follow me on Twitter and Twitch. I am at Anton6 with 3 X's. Chris, where can people find you?
You can find me at Chef and Chris.
Jalen.
Squid Bishop.
Madrid.
You can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/SunnyChifa or on Twitter at SpeedwagonX.
Alright, this has been a Know It's Good production. The video version is edited by Lana Twisted Mind. The audio version is edited by Akuma Santi. Until next time, keep it cheesy.
Keep cheesy.